this problem is from our Let's Be Rational unit, and we're going to be looking at dividing fractions, focusing on the finding common denominator strategy. So if we have 2 2/5 divided by 2/3, we're really trying to figure out how many groups of 2/3 fit inside our 2 2/5. So the very first thing we want to do is, instead of dealing with a mixed number, we want to turn this into an improper fraction so that we can know how many fifths we are dealing with to begin with. So I know I have 2 wholes, so 2 wholes split into fifths would be 10 fifths, plus I have these 2 more fifths for a total of 12 fifths. And here I already have this as a fraction, so I'm going to keep it 2/3. So now I want to know how many groups of 2/3 fit into 12 fifths. So the next thing that I want to do is I want these to have equal pieces, because it's a lot easier to figure out how many groups of 2/3 are going to fit inside something that can have the same size pieces. So that's where we figure out, well, what could be their common denominator. So I know that 5 and 3 both go into 15. So I'm going to use 15 as my common denominator. So I like to start like this. And then I say, okay, how do I get from 5 to 15? Because what I do to the denominator, I'm going to do to the numerator. And so 5 times 3 is going to give me 15. So 12 times 3 would be 36. And we're going to ignore that little dot there. So same thing on this side. So I say, okay, what I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator, because we were making equivalent fractions. So how I get from 3 to 15, I multiply by 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. All right, so my new problem, now I want to know how many groups of 10 fifteenths fit into 36 fifteenths. So this is just straight division now, because the denominators are the same. So it's just like saying how many groups of 10 fit into 36. So I can simply say, another way to say that is 36 divided by 10, or 36 over 10. And of course we know we can't leave that as an improper fraction. So now I'm going to simplify. So I'm going to say, okay, how many whole groups of 10 can I get out of my 36? So that would be 3. So I have 3 whole groups. So that takes care of 30 of my tenths. And I have 6 tenths left over. Okay, and we're still not quite fully simplified. So now I know I've got 3 and my 6 tenths. Okay, I can divide both of those. Again, what we do to the numerator, we do to the denominator. I can divide both of those by 2. So I'm scaling down by 2. And I end up with 3 and 3 fifths. So 3 and 3 fifths groups of 2/3 fit into 2 and 2 fifths.